Okay, so that's great for copper, but are there other metals which will give us clues as to what's going on? Like say bulks, for instance. I mean, what's happening there?
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Is that again, you have to be careful not to just look at one metal, because the supply dynamics of that specific metal might be influencing what's going on. But one of the things I always like to check to see what's going on is if you see a few base metals moving and then you see the bulks moving, because again, it's easy to speculate on a few thousand tons of copper and shove it in a warehouse somewhere, but you're not going to speculate on a 200,000 ton iron ore shipment and think about storing that for 3 or 4 months. So, iron ore imports, have been rocketing into China. And iron ore prices again are at very, very, very solid levels. So, the fact that you're seeing this in copper, seeing this in the bulks, and then you're seeing these other economic indicators, talking about excavator sales and so forth, I think that's, that really helps confirm that, we are, we're on our way up here.
And what do you think that means for nickel?
Yeah, no, I think the nice thing is in terms of nickel, we're seeing the same sort of things happen. So stainless prices are up 10% year over year, even though stockpiles, again, we had talked earlier, nickel, about how prices went way too high, had to correct, and we're going to be along the bottom here. Is stainless inventories built up quite a bit in China as we fell down that price. Inventories have come down a bit. They still have a ways to go. We'll see, maybe by the end of the May, we're a long way back to where we were, because stainless prices are already up 10% off the bottom. So that's a pretty good sign, that again, they're seeing their order books come in if they're already lifting prices with a bunch of inventory in the stainless steel side still sitting around. In terms of nickel metal specifically, what we're seeing is the discount in China between nickel pig iron produced there and nickel has closed quite a bit. The ARB that I talked about in copper is not quite open yet, but looks like it's heading in that direction. And then very importantly on the supply side, one of the things, because I talked before, initially back in September that we're going to have a July-August turn, and then post-COVID, I said, okay, it's off to year end. But it might actually be coming back in towards maybe September, October now, is, Indonesia banned ore exports in January 2020. That was going to cause, stockpiles to shrink. Well, COVID has basically shut down all the mines in the Philippines, which are sort of the replacement source for some of what Indonesia was shipping. So we're seeing ore imports on the ground in China again approach multi-year lows. So that's really setting up for that supply squeeze within China. Now Indonesia's growth there is up by 50% or more in terms of nickel pig iron coming out of China. So that's offsetting some of the gap. But it looks like things will be tightening up. Definitely in the second half. So quite keen on to see that coming down the pipeline for nickel.
Well, yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, that's very good news for nickel. But what do you think it means for investors? You had said, okay, this may be a few months out here, but now with what's happening in the market, are you seeing nickel investors coming back in? I know you at Canada Nickel have, your share price has tripled, and it's all good news for you. But what about some of the other bigger players? Are they seeing a renewed interest in the market?
I don't know in terms of how the equities have yet to respond to that. Again, prices of commodities have come up off the bottom, but the thing I would encourage investors is again, when you have these turns, they don't happen gradually, and you kind of think, oh, I'll maybe pick some up next week or in 2 weeks, or I'll gradually get back in. You always have a short covering that happens at the bottom, and you end up with these, all of a sudden you wake up, and copper prices are up 15 or 20 or 25%, and the copper equity, the liquid copper equities have started to move, pretty dramatically. And again, in any market turn, it's going to be the most liquid names that go first, and then it starts trickling down. So, in terms of your junior explorer at this point in time, we still have to sort of, trickle down that pipeline. But, it's when you start to see these signs, start to get ready, and then watch, if you can start to see that cascade happening down towards whatever, type of companies you invest in.